This is a Mets Willets Point bound 7 local train. The next and last stop is Mets Willets Point.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
My fellow Mets fans, thank you for tuning in to the first ever Rants from the Third Rail. I'm your host, Chente Camacho Jr., where I'll be speaking on nothing but Mets topics. I'll speak on the ownership, to the way the team's playing, to the way the manager's managing the team, to us, the fan base, how we're acting. I might say stuff that might be popular, and I might say stuff that might not be popular. But I'm going to say what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? Everyone else does. So I figure, I'll make a little vlog about it and speak on it. Just to give you guys a little brief history on how long I've been a Mets fan. It all started with my dad, man. My dad moved to New York from Puerto Rico in 1953. And immediately he became a New York Giants fan. He took to the Say Hey Kid and his bunch of guys out there in Harlem. They were balling. And they broke his heart when they moved to San Fran. And he pondered moving to San Francisco. Thank goodness he didn't. I would never have been born if he did. But yeah, he took me to my first game in 1982. He became a Mets fan in 1962. Let me just add that. And he went to his first Mets game in 64 when they opened Shea. And he took me to my first Mets game in 82, as I said just a moment ago. And I remember watching them on television. And my favorite player off the grip, Mookie Wilson. He was the fastest guy, most athletic guy. He was electrifying when he got on base. That 1982 team was really bad. And it was really easy to like Mookie Wilson. The first game that my dad took me to, he hit the triple that set the then Mets record for most triples in a season. And he stole 2 bases, and he made some great plays in the outfield. It was really easy to like him. The first baseman on that team, I really don't want to speak about him too much, is Dave Kingman. One of the most selfish power hitters. Had crazy power, but he's one of the most selfish players to ever play the game. Don't like him too much. Second base, we all know him and love him from that wild bunch of the 80s. Wally Backman, pretty good player. Turned out to be a good manager. And, it's just things happen in life. And unfortunately, I don't want to slander the man. Let his past be his past, and we move on. But Ron Gardenhire, another good manager, was on that team, making several postseason appearances with the Minnesota Twins. I believe now he's in Detroit, not 100% sure. Third baseman was a lovable guy. Fans liked him, Hubie Brooks. The catcher was John Stearns, who also managed in the major leagues. I'm not sure if he's still in the managing capacity at all in professional baseball. And then his backup was Ron Hodges. And then the third catcher was Bruce Bochy, a great manager that we all familiar with. The outfield consisted of a guy who robbed the Mets in left field, a guy who hit 50 home runs at one point in his career, George Foster. And he did nothing for the Mets, just take their money. He's famous for them cutting that record, that New York Mets record. But anyway, that was the best thing he ever did as a Met, was get them in a recording studio. Then my guy, Mookie, was in center. And then some dude named Ellis Valentine that my dad said was a pretty good ball player. But, with the Mets, he was okay. That bunch, they weren't a very good team. Oh, my God, they weren't very good. But there were some pieces on that team that helped us get Ron Darling. And then I think that was Walt Terrell, a pitcher named Walt Terrell. He was supposed to be a really good pitcher at one point. And he brought us Ron Darling. And then another piece in there was Neil Allen, our closer. And he was an essential piece in the Keith Hernandez trade. Mookie Wilson was my guy. I'm sorry, Mookie, I love you. You will always be one of my favorite Mets players to ever play the game for our lovable Mets. But then a year later, Darryl came up and he was my guy. And then a year after that, Dwight came up and he was our guy. But Darryl was still my dude. It was that 1-2 though. For me to come in as a Mets fan in 1982 and them to be so bad, and then 83 for them to turn things a little bit around And then 84 to get Doc, and then 85. So it was like a whirlwind. It was just like we were bad and then we were good. So I was like, yeah, and so were the rest of us, I'm sure of it. And then, 85, Terry Pendleton broke our hearts. And then 86, we did it. 87, injuries. And then we know the history, guys. 88, we lost. And then we crumbled. And, essentially, Darryl was my favorite Met player for a long time. And then in 2003, we got this young kid, Jose Reyes. And I was like, whoa, intrigued. Then 2004, we get David Wright comes up through the ranks. And I'm like, whoa. 2003, 2004, what a coincidence. 20 years after Darryl and Dwight. It was destiny all over again. It was bound to happen again. Goodness. And then we were just in for some more heartbreak. And then David Wright took the mantle of my favorite player of all time for New York Mets player. And that's why I'm really, really, really believe in the farm system. A team, the core has to be built from the farm system. And we have some good pieces in the farm system I do not want to see us get rid of. I'll talk about that. I'll get into it. We've been through a lot, man. We've seen, man, we've been through so much with this franchise. I mean, from that 80s team, that window they had from 86 to like 1989 was blown opportunities through, multiple things. And they should have won at least 2 to 3 world championships. Unfortunately, they didn't. We have to move on from that. We still live with that. We still harbor it. It burns us. And that's why we're so passionate. And that's why we know so much about baseball as Mets fans. We're forced to. We have to focus on what's in the minor league system and who's out there and available, hopefully, to come and sign with us, or who we could trade for. And, a part of that was the Wilpons, man. Having them for owners, and it was rough with them. It was rough with them. And a lot of my beliefs in building the team come from the farm system. You have to sign veteran players and bring on players that are in their prime to fill out your roster. But at the same time, I truly believe that a ball club should be built from the farm system and up. And that's what I'm talking. That's where I want to bring in, like, for these trades that everyone is proposing, like Chris Bryant to come to New York. I would love to have Chris Bryant. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I'd love to have Chris Bryant here in New York. But the thing is, at what cost? And I don't want to hear getting rid of any pieces that we can see flourish somewhere else. I don't want to see that. I'm not saying that it's happened a lot for the Mets, but I don't want that to happen, because I'm excited about 4 kids that they have in their minor league system right now that I really do not want to see them part ways with. And one is the third baseman, Brett Baty. From what I hear, the scouting reports on him, I haven't seen any video yet, but from what I hear, the scouting reports, he has plus power, pretty decent range, but he may grow out of third base. So that's what worries me about him at third base. The same is said about Mark Vientos, but he's not on that list of 4 that I have. The second is Ronnie Mauricio. Ronnie Mauricio is going to be a very good baseball player from what they say. The way he generates contact with his bat speed and the little pop he has and his speed and glove up the middle. They say he's so athletic that he could possibly transition to an outfield position. So we can see what the future holds for him. Now, the last 2 that I have aside are the ones that I'm mostly intrigued about. And the first one is Francisco Alvarez, the catcher from Venezuela who the Mets signed about 2 years ago. This kid, the scouting reports say that he has a good upside as far as his contact ability and his power ability. Also, they say he has a very good throwing arm behind the plate, and he has good footwork behind the plate. He just needs a little help framing pitches, but that will work. I'm okay with that. The kid is only 19 years old, and he's working. I follow him on Instagram, and the kid is always in the gym. He seems to be a gym rat. He's in great shape, and he's built like Pudge Rodriguez, if y'all didn't know. And then the one that I really do not want to see the Mets part with is PCA. Pete Crow Armstrong, a future possible 5-2 player. Dom Smith saw him and took batting practice with him and said that he's very good, that he thinks that he will develop into a very good talent. So these are the 4 pieces I do not want to see the Mets part ways with. I don't want to see them get rid of these prospects for someone like Chris Bryant, because Chris Bryant will be a free agent soon. So we may negotiate with him soon. We could possibly bring him in. My thing is, I want to lock up Francisco Lindor and Michael Conforto. Also, J.D. Davis deserves an opportunity over at third base. The 2019 season he had, and the way he came to us fans, we have to give him a shot. Us fans, we can't be like, let's bring Chris Bryant in. Now we want everything. You guys are just counting Cohen's coins right now. And that is aggravating to me. Just because we have the richest owner in baseball, it doesn't mean that we go out there and spend our money foolishly. Okay? Why do you think he became a billionaire? Because he's not a fool with his money. Okay? So stop counting his coins. Let's not trade away any valuable farm pieces for the likes of Chris Bryant, who we may acquire via free agency in the future, because he's only 27, 28 years old. Okay? Let's not jump the gun. That's what we're doing too much. We have to take it easy, y'all. All right? We're the Mets fans. You know, we can't just be like, we can't let the fact that the Wilpons are gone, that, hey, then the witch is dead. We can't be Wizard of Oz and this guy's going to come in and he's going to buy everything. That's not how this works. Okay? Let this team of ownership and management that just got together in November, it's just February, guys. This team has not played a single game of baseball in spring training yet. So let's pump our brakes a little bit, okay? Let's take it easy, y'all. Let's breathe. Let's compose ourselves. They're going to get it done. Let's just evaluate. Let's see what works out, okay, y'all? Another thing, the signing of Albert Almora and Jonathan Villar. At first, I didn't like those signings. And I thought that it was not a good move. But then after evaluating and, you know, seeing scout reports, and most importantly, I saw Jonathan Villar's stats. In the years he was given over 500 at-bats, and he performed pretty well. He had all-star, not pretty well, he actually had all-star caliber seasons. So that provides the depth, and also it's insurance too, in case, you know, J.D. Davis falters over at third, Villar can play insurance, and, you know, J.D. Davis may still serve a role as a pinch hitter off the bench, and a spot start in the outfield for Dom Smith here and there, maybe a little second base. You know, whatever Luis Rojas has in mind. Excuse me. And Luis Rojas, you on notice. You made a couple of questionable moves, and I give it to you. It was a rookie, shortened season, given the situation. But, you know, there was a couple of moves there that I didn't like, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of us Mets fans also didn't like. Yeah, but at first I didn't like the Almora signings and the VR signing, but it does provide some depth. And let's be patient. You know, I understand with Seth Lugo getting hurt and everything, we signed 2 pitchers from the scrap heap, and I'm not too happy with them. Montgomery and I don't know the other guy's name. They both, their whips are not good for coming out of the bullpen. So I'm not too thrilled about that. The Mets have to get a 5th starter. I'm thinking Walker right now is the best one available after Paxton signs somewhere else with the Mariners. We will discover that going down the road, but I feel our front 4, the rotation is solid. And then one more thing. Everyone is complaining about Brandon Nimmo in center field. Yo, I get it. Defensively, he's suspect. But as a person, like, I'm not saying I'm super duper baseball player or nothing like that, but I played a little baseball. I'm sure a lot of you guys have played a little baseball. And if you play center field, yo, judging those line drives, the ones that those like 8 or 9 balls this past season that went over his head that he's misjudged, those are line drives, man. Those aren't easy to cover. You have to be like a seasoned center fielder, someone, you know, you have to really hold your position and then make your break, because that ball can really deceive you on a line drive. It can take off on you. It can tail either way. It can dip on you. You just don't know where the ball's going to go. And to give a little credit to Brandon Nimmo, considering There's no high school baseball in Wyoming, and for him to be drafted off the strength of American Legion stats and traveling stats and things like that is simply incredible. And, I'm not saying I'm happy with him. I want to see him every day in center field. No, the guy's working on his craft. This guy's a professional athlete. If you guys sit here and think he's not working on his defense, the guy's a prideful guy, okay? Let's cut him a little slack. So he's what we have right now. Let's go with it, okay? What this team has right now on paper, considering the defense that they have shored up the middle quite considerably, adding McCann and Francisco Lindor is pretty decent. Yeah, Dom Smith and Nimmo are liabilities in the outfield defensively. But you know what? Conforto and Wright is also, not the greatest defender. But they do their best. And you know what? The Mets will fix it. The Mets will fix it. I am sure of it. Okay, guys? It's only been since November. Let's keep out of Cohen's pockets. Let this management do what they need to do. Let Steve Cohen and his team do what they need to do. Pump the brakes, slow down, take it easy, okay? Because when Nimmo's performed in the past, you guys have never complained, okay? And I get it. The Mets picked this guy. Whoever was drafting Brandon Nimmo, with no high school baseball, it's mind-blowing. But for him to make the major leagues just off of that, it's commendable, y'all. You guys, I swear, you guys are too critical. I know this is New York and what, but we are not the Yankees and we are not the Dodgers. We do have the richest owner. Stop counting his coins again. I'm going to keep saying that. Hashtag, stop counting Cohen's coins. Seriously, you guys, let's relax. It's only been since November 6th that this man has owned the New York Mets. Okay? Let's pump the brakes. And as always, let's go Mets. Thank you guys for watching the first ever rant from the third rail. Peace, love, and light. Take care. Signing off.
This is a Mets Willets Point bound 7 local train. The next and last stop is Mets Willets Point.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.